The rainy season runs from about late April to late September in different parts of Nigeria. It's a season which is supposed to bring relief to many, especially farmers. But the impact of the rains have brought loss of lives and property. How come an outpouring, which was supposed to be a source of blessing, has brought tales of sadness and sorrow? We are looking into the flood situation in Nigeria on this episode of Big Story. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa. The marks showing the height of the flood of July 13th are still fresh. All 6 shops at Amolasha Street in Isale Igbenyi in Abeokuta South local government area of Ogun State look deserted and destroyed. But these were functional stores up until the 13th of July. They are the most affected on the street because the shops share a wall with the canal. This is the worst experience in recent times, although it's not the first.
Actually, this rain will be the 3rd time it's going to rain. But the first and the second one wasn't as much as this. It wasn't as much as we were able to get our stores back because we opened the shop. We can see the freezer, the dryer then. So we brought everything out that year and we cleaned everything. But this one, we couldn't even get a pin.
Some of the owners of the shops come out here to while away time out of boredom. One of them is a widow and mother of 3, Mrs. Folashade Awe, a hairstylist. She's too emotional to speak with us, so her assistant, Bolanle Hassan, tells us their story.
She
owns the salon, but we work together. Sometimes we render home service to customers, and sometimes we work from the shop here. On that fateful day, we were here. In fact, we were joking about the rain when it started at about 4 p.m. Some of us started expressing fear when the water started building up, but I noticed the bridge along the road was not flooded. At a point, I stepped out of the shop and noticed that the water was coming through the gate in a rush. I called everyone's attention to it and then we ran out. We could not take any of our property. To make matters worse, we had just replenished our stock with hair extensions that very day. I had picked some of them on my way out, but while struggling to save myself, I threw them back into the shop. All the houses on this street were affected. All cars were flooded. Some were carried away, others had been turned upside down. Sometime after 8 p.m., when the water had started subsiding, we came back to the shop and discovered the doors had been opened. The wall at the back was broken and there was nothing left in the shop. All the shops here were empty, except for the rubble of the broken down walls and roof. In the first shop, they used to sell fairly used shoes and bags. Everything was gone. The second store was a drugstore, where a special herbal medicine which cost about 1,000 naira was sold. Everything there too was gone. The day after the rain, I saw just one sachet on the ground. Everything is gone. Generators, freezers, dryers. In fact, we had to buy scissors and combs.
At the last count, the flood led to the death of 4 persons with 3,800 persons affected, according to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. a loss which has led to questions as to the cause of the flood, and top on the list has been waste management.
You have acts of God resulting to things like this. Yes, there's certain human acts that can be avoided when it comes to certain things like this. What do I mean? You see people dropping their garbage in drains. You see them dropping their garbage in canals. So naturally, that obstructs the water flow. When you have the sort of rain that we had, it was persistent for just about 2-3 hours. So ideally, it was just flash floods. It's just unfortunate that the impact was that enormous and severe. Teams were formed, and whether or not you were in the direct line of fire, most commissioners headed teams. I headed a team that worked in a market called Itoku, and you got there, found bags of refuse, meaning people had actually packed refuse from their homes and were dumping. The truth is, a lot of people, I don't think they're aware of the impact, the negative impact such has. I'm sure they think they will come and they'll pick it up anyway. Yes, they will come and pick it up, but if you have a downpour, the type you had that Friday, chances are before the pickup, you've blocked the drains, the natural path of water, and you could have a resultant effect. So there's a lot of public enlightenment also going on.
Beyond the waste issues, physical planning and illegal structure has contributed to the challenge of flood management in the state.
On our part as physical planning, we've also noticed that certain houses, and most of those houses are actually dated, are actually too close to existing canals for comfort. So I guess that's where we come in as a ministry. And as a result of that Friday's incident, unfortunate incident, we have actually reached out and we've been engaging with the communities where the impact was mostly felt. And as I speak to you, some of our officers are actually on the field. It's like being that you specifically mentioned also dovetails into a place we called Amolasho. Those areas were severely affected by that downpour. What we've done is what we're doing currently is we're taking data. What do I mean by taking data? We're looking at the properties that were mostly severely affected by the flood, trying to see first, are the integrities of those buildings? Are they as integrity? Is it in doubt right now? Is there any chance that we may have a collapse of any of those buildings anytime soon? So those are things we're working on. We're also trying to see what the distance of those structures is to the canal and also to the existing drainage. Governments, naturally, when things like this happen, there's certain decisions we have to make as a government. Again, for the safety of the governor's first job as number one man in the state is the safety and security of lives and properties. So that will form part of the recommendations that our team will make to the governor. And ultimately, a decision will be made on what the next steps will be. The truth is certain buildings would have to give way. But again, you're always very conscious not to severely inconvenience the citizenry. So there will be considerations to see how we can strike a balance such that people are not unduly displaced, at the same time ensuring the security of lives and properties.
Ogun State has not been the only one in the eye of the storm. So far, Katsina State has recorded the highest casualties with over 50 people dead and property worth millions of naira destroyed. Consequently, many have been rendered homeless.
Until first thing in the morning, I had to visit here. When I came down here, I visited the scene, and I was made to understand both this river, the very big river we have, and the fund we have inside town. You know the volume of water that came. Definitely, if the water should be washed away from the town, certainly the big river will not allow that water to enter the river. So based on that, the river overflowed. The water had to come back inside town, thereby taking almost 1,000 houses. We lost about 44 lives for now. We have not discovered the remaining. We are still searching. But 21 were buried this morning. And we are going to retrieve 23 in Madarumfa and Kuntimi in Niger Republic. So we are making frantic effort to see that these dead bodies are brought back here for burial. This is exactly what happened.